Good morning, everybody. My name's Pastor Katie, and I'm going to be telling you the story of Nehemiah today. Nehemiah is a man we read about in the Old Testament of our Bible. Nehemiah was an Israelite, but he was not living in the land of his people. You see, many years before Nehemiah, the Babylonians came in and conquered the land, taking a lot of the Israelites captive. And so that's where we find Nehemiah, a captive living in Babylonia and serving the king. But he had a very special job with the king. He was the king's cupbearer. That meant that he would eat and drink things before the king did to make sure that no one was poisoning the king. Because Nehemiah served so closely with the king, they had a very good relationship, and the king had respect for Nehemiah. One day, Nehemiah was serving the king, but the king could tell that something was troubling Nehemiah. "What's wrong, Nehemiah?" the king asked. "Why do you look so troubled?" Nehemiah explained to the king that he was very upset because he had gotten word that the walls around Jerusalem were crumbling to pieces. People are not taking care of the city. The walls didn't have any gates, and the people were left unprotected. Nehemiah was sad that he was far away in a different land and couldn't help his people rebuild the wall. So Nehemiah asked the king, "Would it be all right if I go to Jerusalem to see if I can help?" The king looked at Nehemiah and felt sad that he was in such distress. So he asked Nehemiah, "What do you need, and how long will you be gone?" Nehemiah answered the king's questions as best as he could, and the king gave him permission to go. Nehemiah was so happy. The king even sent official papers with Nehemiah, letting everyone know that he should have safe passage and they should give him whatever materials he needed. Nehemiah made that long journey to Jerusalem, and once he was there, he did an inspection of the walls. What he saw made him sad. The walls were crumbling. They were broken pieces of wall all over the ground. His donkey had trouble getting through the mess. The next morning, Nehemiah went to the leaders of the city. He said to them, "We can't stand around doing nothing. We need to rebuild these walls and do it fast." The city leaders agreed with Nehemiah. They wanted to follow his leadership and get the walls of their city standing tall again. They wanted to fix their city gates so that they would be protected. Everyone who was able to helped in rebuilding the walls. But enemies would come to where they were working and start insulting them. They would say things like, "Your wall is going to fail. You'll never get the job done. Your wall is going to be so weak that a tiny little fox could knock it over." But the men building the wall didn't pay any attention to the people that were trying to discourage them. They listened to Nehemiah and the encouragement he gave them and kept working. God would help them finish the wall. But Nehemiah was concerned that the enemies would try to stop their progress on the wall. So he divided the men into two groups. One of the groups would work on the wall, and the other group would stand guard with their weapons. Even those who were working on the wall had a weapon at their side as they worked. They worked, and they worked, and they worked. When the sun started shining in the morning, they were hard at work. They worked all day until the sun went down and they couldn't see well enough to work anymore. The enemies saw that they were ready for them, so they didn't attack, and they didn't stop Nehemiah and the men from building the wall. In just 52 days, the wall was finished. When the enemies heard that the wall was finished in such a short amount of time, they were afraid. They knew that God must have been helping Nehemiah, and the men finished the wall. And they knew that God was powerful. Nehemiah saw a job that needed to be done, and he prayed and asked God to help him finish the job. God is bigger than our challenges. If the work that we are trying to do is good and will bring honor to God, then God will help us finish the work. The Bible promises us that God will never leave us on our own. And don't forget, today is Father's Day. It's a great day to celebrate the dads and grandfathers and men in our life who take care of us. Make sure to tell them that you love them and that you appreciate them. Have a great week. We'll see you next time, Pantano kids.